Good morning, everyone. This is SMD Mazharul Haq, Assistant Professor, Triple Department, ISL Engineering College. I am dealing the subject utilization of electrical energy, and today we will discuss about the synchronous motor starting and its operation. First of all, we should know the synchronous motor, how to start a synchronous motor, and next thing is the protection of the synchronous motor. Like we are having different types of protection for synchronous motors, and these protections include from short circuit we can protect, and from the rotor also we can protect the windings. So all these protections include in the synchronous motor topic here. So first of all, let us see what is synchronous motor. What is synchronous motor? As we have studied already, that a synchronous electric motor is an AC motor in which at steady state the rotation of the shaft is synchronized with the frequency of supply current. So it is very clear here that the synchronous electric motor is an AC motor in which at steady state the rotation of shaft is synchronized with the frequency of the supply current, and the rotation period is exactly equal to an integral number of the AC cycles. So synchronous motors contain multiple AC electromagnets on the stator of the motor that create the magnetic field, which rotates in time with the oscillations of the line current. So the rotor with permanent magnets or electromagnets turns in step with the stator field at the same rate, and as a result provides the second synchronized rotating magnetic field of an AC motor. So a synchronous motor is only considered a doubly fed if it is supplied with independently excited multi-phase AC electromagnets on both the rotor and the as well as stator. So when the synchronous motor is said to be doubly fed, when if it is supplied independently with the multi-phase AC electromagnets on both rotor and stator, then it is called as doubly fed synchronous motor. Otherwise it is a single fed AC motor. Okay, now we are talking about the types of the synchronous motor. Synchronous motors fall under the more general category of synchronous machines, where includes the synchronous generator. Now the generator action will be observed if the field poles are driven ahead of the resultant air gap flux by forward motion of the prime mover. So motor action will be observed if the field poles are dragged behind the resultant air gap flux by the retorting torque of the shaft load. So here we see that the generation action of the synchronous motor will also be observed whenever the poles are dragged behind the resultant air gap flux. So if the air gap flux as well as these poles are being having some drag between them, then the torque will occur, that is called as retorting torque of the shaft load. So there are two types of synchronous motors depending upon how the rotor is magnetized, that is non-excited and direct current excited motor. How is this non-excited motor and direct current excited motor of the synchronous motor, we will see. See here, we are having a three-phase supply as well as a stator also we are having here. It is having a stator winding of three phase, and in the right side we are having this particular rotor which is also a star connection having a three-phase winding. Now the DC supply is present for the excitation here, and this DC supply gives the excitation depending upon the resistance. Here the resistance will be increased or decreased, and therefore when the switch closes the DC excitation is given, and therefore the rotor and stator are being excited here, and therefore the slip ring shafts are placed, therefore your current will flow and this energizes the rotor, and therefore here also the magnetic field is there, and therefore it shows the motor operation. Okay, When you closely observe this particular figure, here you are having the north pole, south pole, and which are uh, here placed, and also we are having a winding over at that, and we are placing the damper windings, and the field supply is given as well as the main supply is also given here. So you can see the field supply having some resistance, and this field supply is given to this particular rotor here, as well as you can see that this particular stator winding is also placed, and the stator also having this particular windings, and these windings are also given the supply. So this is stator, and your supply is given from this particular location. You can see. Coming to the non-excited motor, what is a non-excited motor? In non-excited motor, the rotor is made up of steel. At synchronous speed, it rotates in step with the rotating magnetic field of the stator. So it has almost constant magnetic field through it. Therefore, the external stator field magnetizes the rotor, inducing the magnetic poles needed to turn it. So we can understand that the external stator field magnetizes the rotor, inducing the magnetic poles needed to turn it. The rotor is made up of a high retentivity steel, such as cobalt steel. These are manufactured in permanent magnet, reluctance, and hysteresis designs. So these are called as non-excited motors, which are using a permanent magnet there. So these permanent magnets have the variations in the reluctance and as well as the design. So DC excited motors, coming to DC excited motors, they are usually made in larger sizes, larger than about 1 horsepower or 1 kilowatt. These motors require direct current, and this is applied to the rotor for excitation. And this is the most straightforward supply through slip rings, but a brushless AC induction and rectifier element may also be used. So the direct current may be supplied from a separate DC source or from a DC generator that is directly connected to the motor shaft. Directly connected to the motor shaft, we can see that here the DC excitation will take place directly to the field winding, as well as the rectifier may also be used. The direct current may be supplied from a separate DC source or from a DC generator directly connected to the motor shaft. Okay, so this is about the DC excited motors. So we see the figure here of synchronous motor here, where you are having the poles, the wheel winding is upon the that poles here, where the DC excitation is given, as well as you are having stator. The stator, you are having this stator winding place, and that is called as a salient pole rotor. That is called as a salient pole rotor. This rotor is called as the salient pole rotor, and you are having the field winding here. You will be having the three-phase supply, stator winding, and salient pole rotor. Now coming to this particular construction, the principal components of a synchronous motor are the stator and the rotor. The stator of the synchronous motor and stator of the induction motor are similar in construction. With the wound rotor, synchronous WF electric machine as the exception. The stator frame contains wrapper plate, circumferential ribs and key bars are attached to the wrapper plate to carry the weight of the machine. Frame mounts and footings are required. When the field winding is excited by DC excitation, brushes and slip rings are required to connect the excitation supply. The field winding can also be excited by brushless exciter, and cylindrical round rotors, also known as non-silent pole rotors, are used for up to 6 poles. In some machines or when a large number of poles are needed, a silent pole rotor is also used. The construction of synchronous motor is similar to that of a synchronous alternator also, and therefore you are having this comparison between the alternator as well as the motor. Basically, these alternator and motor having the same construction, but the operation will vary. So this is the figure where you can see the synchronous motor, and you are having the synchronous motor having the ratings of that and having a shaft here. So you are seeing the synchronous motor. And now coming to the operation of a synchronous motor is due to the interaction of the magnetic fields of the stator as well as the rotor. Its stator winding, which consists of a three-phase winding, is provided with a three-phase supply, and the rotor is provided with a DC supply. Again repeat that The stator winding, which consists of a three-phase winding, is provided with a three-phase supply, and rotor is provided with DC supply. The three-phase stator winding carrying three-phase current produces three-phase rotating magnetic flux, and therefore a rotating magnetic flux will be produced there, and the rotor locks in with the rotating magnetic field and rotates along with it. So here these the field as well as the rotor are both are rotating, and they are locked to each other. The rotor locks in the rotating magnetic field and rotates along with it. Once the rotor locks in with the rotating magnetic field, the motor is said to be in synchronization. So a single phase, a two phase derived from a single phase stator winding is possible, but in this case direction of rotation is not defined and the machine may start in the other direction, that is unless prevented from doing so by starting arrangements. So here you are observing that the motor may start in either direction because the rotor may catch the rotating magnetic field, and therefore whatever direction is there, the motor will start in that direction. So if we should be prevented, we will see how the motor will be prevented from that operation, motor operation, as well as we will see how the direction of the rotation will change. So you can have a look over here where the stator as well as the rotor are placed, and whatever I am telling you here is the rotor as well as the stator are having the magnetic field rotation is done. So arrow mark is shown here. So the magnetic field of the stator will be in this direction, and the rotor will be also having the north south poles arranged to the this particular stator here. Okay. Once the motor is in operation, the speed of motor is dependent only upon the supply frequency. For a synchronous motor here, once the motor is in operation, the speed of motor is dependent on only the supply frequency. When the motor load is increased beyond the breakdown load, the motor falls out of synchronization and the field winding no longer follows the rotating magnetic field. Since the motor cannot produce synchronous torque if it falls out of synchronization, so the practical synchronous motors have a partial or complete squirrel cage damper winding to stabilize operation and facilitate the starting. So whenever the synchronous motor is out of synchronization, we are using some damper windings to stabilize the operation and facilitate the starting, because whenever the motor comes into synchronization, then only it starts to run. Because this winding is smaller than that of an equivalent induction motor and can overheat on long operation, and because of large slip frequency voltages are induced in the rotor excitation winding, synchronous motor protection devices sense this condition and interrupt the power supply, that is out of step protection. So whenever we are having this particular things happening here, we can sense the overheating of this motor and we can interrupt the supply given to the synchronous motor whenever the motor is out of synchronization. Okay, by the summary of this slide is, when the practical synchronous motors have a partial or complete winding to stabilize the operation and facilitate the starting. So some damper windings are used here for facilitating the starting here. Okay. Load should not be increased beyond the breakdown because whenever the breakdown load is appearing, the motor falls out of synchronization here. So we should see about the loading operation of the synchronous motor also. So this is one type of synchronous motor where it is showing the shaft as well as the RPM, as well as this particular synchronous motor is having the stator as well as the rotor. It is the outward structure of the synchronous motor. Now we will talk about the starting methods. Above a certain size, synchronous motors are not self-starting motors actually. This property is due to the inertia of rotor. It cannot instantly follow the rotation of magnetic field of the stator. Why? Because here you can say that when a body is in inertia, it cannot instantly follow the rotation of magnetic field of stator. Since a synchronous motor produces no inherent average torque at standstill, it cannot accelerate to synchronous speed without some supplemental mechanism. So for a synchronous motor, we require some supplemental mechanism to start it. So large motors operating on commercial power frequency include a large squirrel cage induction winding, which provides sufficient torque for acceleration and which also serves to damp oscillations in the motor speed operation. So once the rotor nears the synchronous speed, the field winding is excited and the motor pulls into synchronization. So very large motor systems may include a pony motor that accelerates the unloaded synchronous machine before load is applied. So what we do here is, unless and until the rotor nears the synchronous speed, the field winding is excited. Once the rotor, this point is specified here, once the rotor is near the synchronous speed, the field winding is excited and the motor pulls into synchronization, and hence we call it as a synchronous motor. Motors that are electronically controlled can be accelerated from zero speed by changing the frequency of the stator current. So by changing the frequency also we can alter these things. Change the frequency of the stator current. The motors which are electronically controlled can be accelerated from zero speed by changing the frequency. So very small synchronous motors are commonly used in line powered electrical mechanical clocks or timers that use the power line frequency to run the gear mechanism at a correct speed. So small synchronous motors are able to start without assistance. The moment of inertia of rotor and its mechanical load is sufficiently small. Will be accelerated from slip speed up to synchronous speed during an accelerating half cycle of the reluctance torque. So single phase synchronous motors such as in electrical wall clocks and can freely rotate in either direction, unlike a shaded pole type of motor. So shaded pole synchronous, for how consistent starting direction is obtained we can see. So not all the synchronous motors are have required starting, whereas some some synchronous motor will be easily started by the some process. So we have already seen how the synchronous motor works, and here we are having the stator diagram and rotor diagram, where the rotor will carry the synchronous magnetic field and they will be in synchronization with each other. Whenever the poles are rotating, then these will be having some magnetic field developed, as well as it may cause the rotor to rotate in synchronization. So what are the advantages of synchronous motors? We will see now. The synchronous motors have the following advantages over non-synchronous motors. So synchronous motor, generally the name is already told that because it is the magnetic field, it is in synchronization with the magnetic field applied. So we call it as synchronous motor. Asynchronous motors means induction motor is a asynchronous motor. So synchronous motors have the following advantages over non-synchronous motors. Speed is independent of the load provided and adequate field current is applied. So accurate control in speed and position using open loop controls are also used, that is stepper motors. And here they will hold that position when a DC current is applied to both the stator and the rotor windings. So this excitation, if it is provided to DC current is applied to both stator and rotor, they will hold their position. That is the advantage of the synchronous motor. And their power factor can be adjusted to unity by using a proper field current related to the load. So whenever the load is more, then the field current also will be adjusted so that the power factor is made unity. So also a capacitive power factor, the current phase leads to voltage phase, can be obtained by increasing this current slightly, which can help achieve a better power factor correction for the whole of the installation. Their construction allows for increased electrical efficiency when low speed is required. So if whenever the low speed is required and increased electrical efficiency is required, with the low speed is required also, we can change the field current and therefore getting the less speed as well as the improved performance also done here. So they run at either synchronous speed, else no speed is there. So the advantage of this is they will run at synchronous speed, and otherwise there is no speed at all in the synchronous motor. Now we also studied about the uses of the synchronous motors. What are the synchronous motor uses? The synchronous motors find applications in all the industrial applications where constant speed is necessary. So for a constant speed operation, the synchronous motors find applications in these industries and improving the power factor as synchronous condensers. Because in the industries we use synchronous condensers for improving the power factor, because these synchronous condensers make this particular power factor to unity, and also by using the mechanism that the current will lead by the synchronous condenser the current will lead, and therefore it will improve the power factor. Now the electrical power plants almost always use synchronous generators because it is important to keep the frequency constant at which the generator is connected. So one of the use of synchronous generators is because it is important to keep the frequency constant there, and also we require the generators in the power plants. Low power applications include positioning machines where high precision is required and robot actuators are required. Main synchronous motors are used for electric clocks. So these electric clocks require the synchronous motors. Now record player turntables also apply the synchronous motors, as we have seen some uses of the synchronous motors. So coming to this particular protection of the synchronous motors, we talk about the protection. There are lots of protection devices applicable in the market for the protection of the synchronous motor. Whenever this synchronous motor is out of synchronization, it may overheat. So to make that overheat problem to reduce, there are many things that are available in the market to reduce the particular overheat of the synchronous motor by making proper arrangements of the dynamics of the synchronous motor. And also we have seen that the synchronous motor also is more prone to this faults and this short circuits. So from the short circuit protection also some external devices are used so that they protect the synchronous motors with the external faults. And sometimes the synchronous motor gets overloaded also. So to reduce it from overload and also to make the windings protected, we use a number of protection techniques here for synchronous motors, which are also readily available in market. And also we can make use of these particular conventional methods of protection of the synchronous motor, as you are doing for protection, like you have to improve the power factor, and also you have to see that the voltage supply doesn't get distorted. These are some conventional things, whereas some typical things are applicable, are existing in the market, where we have to use that, or we have to buy from the market to control the protection of the synchronous motor. So in the today's topic, students, we have seen about the synchronous motors, its starting, its protection, as well as the synchronous motor application, how it is used and where it is used, we have seen. So I would like to conclude my topic here, students, and thank you for today's lecture, listening of today's lecture. Thank you, and we will start other topic in the next class. Thank you very much.